Isn't he Mexican?
Colombian.
He calls himself American.
What is this?
Anchor Baby.
And in this corner, it's the American Anchor Baby.
Daddy's home.
That's an offensive term. People find that hurtful.
You mean it's not politically correct? Excuse me. I'll use the word anchor baby.
You know, he's an anchor baby in Canada.
Tell him we still rolling with Trump, too.
Anchor baby, the whole thing sounds horrific. You're just making it sound like immigrants are these horrific, greedy people.
Ustedes pueden aceptar mi negocio o aceptar las consecuencias. Plata o plomo.
So you would be considered white, in my opinion.
You the blackest one in this room.
I think so.
And what happened was his mama got pregnant on the other side of the border. And then a few hours before, just before it was time for him to pop out, she jumped across the border and let him fall on American soil. So he became the anchor baby. You don't call him the anchor baby for nothing. Amazing.
We like this anchor baby, right?
Hello, I'm the American Anchor Baby, and this is my show. Thank you for tuning in. Appreciate the patience there. I started streaming on Joel's channel there. Couldn't quite get it to restore. And so I had to call out for help. I had to look into the sky and call, and an angel appeared. Billy. What's up, everybody? How you doing? How was your weekend? Hope you enjoyed it. Been nice. Some nice shows today on the network, and we got one coming at you here. American Anchor Baby. Some interesting things happening here, okay? VIVEK. People are saying, slandering me almost. But maybe my secret support for VIVEK Ramaswamy is finally slashed and shattered, as the gold eagle may have found the Indian viper. Rooted him out in the nest. I'm wearing the Zelensky on, and you know Zelensky might actually be worth talking about today. Just a little bit. But I also got some other things, and I want to get into all of that. We will waste no more time. Thank you. 1-888-775-3773. You want to call in international, you could try it as well. What else? Hey, Rumble. Hey, Twitch. Hey, Facebook. Look, let's not waste too much time, but I do want to thank everyone who bought a ticket, first class and otherwise, this past Friday. We had a nice flight. We landed her easy peasy down in Miami. International out of Denton. It was a great flight. Okay, so thank you. And to those who were in the Ballers Lounge, we had a good time. So appreciate that. You want to tune in on Fridays, subscribe, hit the notification bell. That way you don't miss it when your flight takes off. You want to get there for takeoff time, okay? But as you can see, I am wearing the Zelensky. I'm wearing the long sleeve Zelensky. SLAVA, UKRAINI. Huh? The color of his shirt makes me want to donate. Right on, Prince vibes. In fact, the global community should understand and should help us in this trying time. See, you know, I mean, you saw the issues. We're going to need more than 75. All right, the people listening to me, we're going to need more than 75. Everything is fake. It's not enough. So I'm going to need more. You see the green on the shirt. And you see the green in your pockets. Make the connection. Do it for Jesus. Okay, that's maybe blasphemous. But SLAVA UKRAINI, they're talking about peace. When's that word been thrown around when talking about Ukraine? Nicholas Zelensky. Nick flew to Miami to... Whoa! Let me stop that. Let me not repeat that. But they're talking about peace. Peace in the Middle East. No, not quite. Let's see if I can pull this guy's profile up, because they were posting about this peace conference, okay? And it's not a word that gets used when talking about Ukraine. You know this. Can we give peace a chance? No, it's you got to defeat Russia. You got to defeat them. Sometimes even more colorful language. But yeah, the destruction of them, it's got to happen, they say. Zelensky holds a peace conference, though. The turn of the tide in with the Swiss president, Viola Amherd, a woman. Huh, I didn't know that. I didn't know that, Switzerland. Watch as Volodymyr Zelensky holds a press conference with the president of the Swiss Confederation. That's from Yahoo. And here it is. He's got his full address over there in the Swiss with the Swiss president. We are open to all. We don't need to play this long clip, but we are open to all countries that respect our sovereignty and territorial integrity at the Peace Summit, except those that are currently maybe challenging that, Zelensky. But we're just gonna move on from that, right? Let's have some peace. I'm just marking the change in language here a little bit, especially since Ukraine, Zelensky, and the whole thing has kind of been swept aside for the new kids on the block. Okay, we're worried about the Semites right now. Some are worried about World War III. Some are worried about the existence of Israel and all that. Anyways, they've quickly forgotten about old Zelensky. At least that's how it feels. It's how it seems. And this call for peace has been a call, you got to understand, for a while. Some disagree. Some say you got to support them, right? Russia is breaking the international rules, the order set. Them's the rules, Russia. But anyways, some have disagreed, pointing out the moral double standard of the West and America and NATO. It's all interesting arguments. We can agree, though, it seems to all lack an actual kind of a right person or morality. It's all nations for themselves, as they should, but at times willing to hurt others. And some don't get called out. You know, the West, they're the moral police. You know all this a little bit here, right? And yet they show hypocrisy. Okay, I'm not that too much of an expert, but there was apparently an expert in Ukraine talking about all this, who died recently. Some people are already in the chat saying, rest in peace, Gonzalo Lira. And I do want to mention him here quickly. But yeah, Zelensky, peace. I mean, last thing to say about that, it's a call. It's what many have called for, okay? I'll say that much. Maybe not enough, but some will criticize it as a capitulation of Russia. But I think the argument can be made that those who are pushing for this war to be won by Ukraine, especially when it doesn't seem like the deadlines they've placed, the media and the government together, and the Ukrainian government, our own State Department, doesn't seem like the way it's going is how they said. It would be Russia will be defeated in no time. I think it was like last November, Tucker Carlson was talking about Gonzalo Lira coming mentioning, hey, it's kind of not going like you said it would. And so the argument can be made that those pushing for this war are they don't have the Ukrainians, they don't even have the Ukrainians' best interest in mind, willing to push them to further war, a war that they seem to be not exactly winning. Okay, so I don't know the deets, so you have to ask a general or somebody who's into all that. But they're asking for peace. It's a peace conference. Who knows? They just use that word. And as a side note, might as well mention it, short-term funding bills having to do with our own government. If you know about this a little bit, they were going to shut it down, right? Shut down the government, because it's no more with this Ukraine business. No, we don't know where the money's going. We can't verify it. So we need that to get done. We need the border. These are the Republicans, right? These are some Republicans, those that dissented. They called themselves the Freedom Caucus, maybe? And they basically said, we're willing to shut it down. We're willing to get rid of any speaker who doesn't work with us. Fall in line. Well, okay, I think that's too extreme. Some might call them extreme for the atomization of Congress in the U.S., but it's probably better for us, don't you think? Yet it doesn't seem to be working. Short-term funding bill, more money for Ukraine. Not only that, nothing for the border. They seem to have some sort of what I heard, Marjorie Taylor Greene, and another firebrand conservative lady, Bartiromo. I forget her name. Bartiromo. She's an OG Fox fixture at this point, I'd say. And I don't know, dislike her, but it's just like to see the ladies, the firebrand conservative Republican ladies, telling us the news. Anyway, she just talks about how even in this bill and all that, they have like a limit. You can let in like 5,000 illegals before you could do something about it every day or something like that. Doesn't work. Doesn't quite work. So just had to mention that. But I wanted to mention Gonzalo Lira a little bit. He's a U.S. citizen. You know, mentioning this war, might as well mention how, I mean, it's like not that you don't remember, but I like recapping a little perspective. When the war really started, the machine, the media machine started here. And it's like, SLAVA, UKRAINI, like it was flags everywhere, changing the spelling of Kiev. That's even just early on. I'm sure, as you could tell, maybe I got jaded and kind of dropped off early. Some of you probably know better. But it was all sorts of propaganda. And many Americans, our own neighbors, went along with it. More, yes, everything. Democrats, those who are, I don't know, against war. I don't even know what people believe anymore. Their side said this is good, and so our side is winning, and so this is good. Morality doesn't matter. That is the new morality. My side got an up. My side said this is good, and we're getting it. So shall it be? It is good, and I am good, and so this is why I am good. This is kind of like, I think, as deep as people think, maybe. But Gonzalo Lira was a U.S. citizen who was in Ukraine, telling his view of it. You know, he was there, giving his view of it. And I'm not like someone who followed him. I don't know if his takes were good or not. But he was there. And he got himself, I say got himself, but he got himself arrested there. And I say got himself because aren't there others there, I guess, reporting? And they're not getting themselves into too much trouble. Now, you got to understand, when you read about this Gonzalo Lira, who was known as Coach Red Pill, okay? If you know anything about him a little bit, kind of got known in the internet, a little bit of that dating scene, Red Pill stuff. Coach Red Pill got into the whole Ukraine thing. And then when you read about it, they say the crime is mongering pro-Russia propaganda. And so there's a couple ways to look at it, right? He's a U.S. citizen. And I see the arguments being made. They're fair, I think. His own father saying this, that they begged the State Department to help him, get him out of there. He's a U.S. citizen, right? Wonder how hard they tried. It's not clear. But if it's true what this father was saying, that they were asking for help, you would think this shining city on a hill, America, the world's democracy, would go to their friends, their allies, the greatest democracy over there, fighting against the tyrants of Russia, that they would have maybe figured something out here. Hey, look, Gonzalo Lira's ours. We'll deal with him. Also, you know, he's it seems to me like he was just saying stuff online, on YouTube, on Twitter, American platforms, right? So it's like maybe the most they could have done is like, okay, you know what? Go do that in America. Get out of here. Which you can understand. We wouldn't want anybody here in America mongering. It maybe loses meaning when we realize just how evil our own government is and they're against us. But a government, a standing nation, and their army wouldn't want foreigners coming in and giving intel, I don't know, reporting, even just morale, even just for the reasons of morale, even if it's true what this person's reporting on. It's like, yeah, well, go say it somewhere else, man. We got to keep our army ready to go. So anyways, obviously all the questions of democracy and who we're supporting stand. You got to wonder how much trouble did he get himself in. So a little bit of space. Leave a little space in all things. You can't just be throwing away your lives. So maybe he did some amazing reporting. Some of you might know better than I. I thought it was worth mentioning, though. The facts are apparently, I could confirm at least a few of these. These are from David Sachs on X.com. I could confirm some of these at least through Yahoo. But that he was an American citizen, yeah. He was arrested for posting YouTube videos critical of the Zelensky regime. He was quite critical. Both Gonzalo and his father warned that he would die in prison, begged the State Department to secure his release. Judging by the last video he posted, Gonzalo was healthy at the time of his arrest. There are some saying that he just simply died there because he was unhealthy and smokes a lot. And there was it's kind of an interesting, I might as well show it to you since I'm talking about it. One of the last videos he posted before all this, predicting his death, saying he'd be in a prison camp, saying he would die in it. And why not? Since we're talking about it. Then we'll move on quick, because there's some interesting stuff with the Gold Eagle and the Indian Viper. And some are saying, I'm all VIVEK, I'm full VIVEK Ramaswamy. I might say slanderous, but hey, it might be the end for VIVEK. Let's watch this part here. Tucker was talking about Gonzalo. Here's one of this. Here's that video. Somewhere here. Tucker Carlson. This was on the fly, folks, so I thought I'd just find it. What they're saying is one of his... And if you remember, the story was, too, that he tried to cross the border. He says that in this video here, saying that it's one of his only... His only last resorts here, what he's going to do here, was to try and attempt to cross the border and just get out. But if you remember, this was reported on, he got, caught at the border, and they were like, nope. Come on, Elon, why are you doing this to me? You see this, right? Twitter's always been a little strange for video.
22.
And I know they want to be video pros. But here we go. Gonzalo Lira. Wow. You see this, folks? We don't need to watch this if it's going to be this difficult. But he says in this very video how he is going to attempt to cross the border. I don't think that worked out, obviously. VIVEK Ramaswamy with a video here that I pray works. I pray, Elon Musk. He's talking about Gonzalo. Ian Miles Chong reposted this saying he's one of the only presidential candidates. He's, in fact, the only one who mentions the story of Gonzalo here and sheds some light here, a spotlight on what's going on here. He's saying he's the only presidential candidate, and he's saying right on.
This is 𝒏𝒂𝒂𝒎 here of WeAreChange.org on the campaign trail here in Iowa with VIVEK Ramaswamy. As of course, just a couple of moments ago, we got the heartbreaking news of the death of Gonzalo Lira, an American citizen and journalist who, of course, made a video just a few weeks ago on social media describing a horrible ordeal of him being
all this.
It's one more reason to extricate ourselves from this pointless foreign war. It's worse than pointless. We're subsidizing the persecution of an American journalist, and it's a regime that's increasingly totalitarian in its tendencies. When we criticize Putin, imagine if this had been in Russia. There has been a U.S. journalist reportedly detained in Russia, but imagine if that journalist had died in prison, what the outrage would be in the mainstream media establishment and the political establishment in the United States. And so I think we cannot apply a different standard to the country who we're actually propping up with $200 billion of our own taxpayer money to pay a country that we claim to be a democracy, some framed up as a battle between good and evil. The reality is this so-called democracy not only has banned 11 opposition parties, not only has consolidated all media into one state TV media arm, not only has persecuted Christians, not only has its prime minister, its leader, national leader, Zelensky, President Zelensky, who is criticized in front of the Canadian Parliament. He embraced a Nazi in his own ranks, effectively. Now he's gone to the next level and not only imprisoned an American journalist. I want to put a fine point on that. An American journalist, a guy who's an American citizen in a Ukrainian prison for saying critical things about him, but now is actually have allowed that same person to die in his prison. We don't know the circumstances of the death, at least I don't, but it's disgusting. And the fact that we're paying for it, I think, has blood on our own hands as a country for everybody who isn't standing up and holding Ukraine accountable.
Yeah, so who knows what happened, right? It's definitely, he did seem fine in the video I saw. Maybe he really was unhealthy. Maybe we'll get they're a free and democratic country over there in Ukraine. We'll get the whole story, right? Just give it some time. Okay, looking like he's in the Ballers Lounge, VIVEK Ramaswamy in the back. That reporter's jacket is not morally straight, says Carver. Something slightly awkward. Chad player body language. VIVEK holding it down. Look at me.
The pro-war Republican.
Talking about keeping us cool. Talking about the hardest, most complicated, and pertinent topics of America today. On the foreign stage, in the world stage, moves in the grand game, but he keeps it cool in the Ballers Lounge, in the back of the SUV. I mean, you know, there's some that don't really fall. There's some that are not falling for the charm, falling for the you know, I want to say snake charming music, but then he would be the snake. So then who's the snake charmer? Can the snake just dance like to charming music and hypnotize the masses anyways? Okay, analogies. Too hard for an anchor baby. Frig it. We're talking about Ramaswamy. Trump turns on Ramaswamy, tells Iowans, don't get duped. What could have happened? What could have happened? Trump, to make you turn on VIVEK Ramaswamy, who has been so supportive and so speaks so highly of the president at the debates where he doesn't see the need to be at, and I personally don't disagree. But what happened? So let me, I guess, break it down. What happened here? Trump turns on Ramaswamy, casting him as a threat to his Make America Great Again movement and what appeared a shifted strategy. Vote for Trump. Don't waste your vote. VIVEK is not MAGA, Trump said as he arrived in Iowa Saturday night. The comments, which appeared in a social media post. What social? We're talking about Truth Social, huh? Yahoo News. You don't want to support his thing. Ended what had been an informal marriage of convenience with the 38-year-old Ohio entrepreneur and first-time political candidate. Iowans on Monday will cast the first votes in the 2024 presidential nominating process. That happened, all right. And Trump was there. He had the baller hat, caucus captain. Trump, he's been boycotting the primary debates. Ramaswamy, the media has called him a stand-in for Trump, okay? So that's what people are kind of saying. A lot of people supportive, had callers on my show, Trump supporters who called my show, have praised Ramaswamy, saying they like what he's saying. And he's at multiple times tried to stand with him when they removed Trump's name from these ballots. I believe it was first in Colorado. Ramaswamy, VIVEK said he's going to boycott those he said something about boycotting, okay? So he's going to stand with Trump on this one. And so the final straw came a little more than an hour before Trump's broadside. When he posted a photo on X showing him with supporters in a T-shirt saying "Save Trump, vote VIVEK." Now they leave it a little like there's a little bit more there. Yahoo News, they put that all the way at the end of the article. Like, well, what's making people turn from? What's caused Donald Trump to speak in such a way and post about VIVEK that he's not MAGA? That Yahoo News seems to bury that all the way at the bottom. Like, you'd think you'd want to know. Gateway pundit here. I think a little bit more on that moment, the moment that may have caused this, the catalyst. VIVEK's controversial pitch to Trump voters surfaces, sparking Trump's anger. Vote for me to save Trump. Voting for him leads to his demise. They even have a video. I wasn't able to play it earlier. Maybe I could play it here. But it reads here. A video has surfaced showing Republican presidential candidate VIVEK Ramaswamy in a controversial exchange with a Trump supporter. This footage, rapidly gaining traction, seems to be the reason for President Trump's recent scathing critique. In his post, Trump expressed dismay at Ramaswamy's tactics. VIVEK, these are Trump's words here. VIVEK started his campaign as a great supporter, the best president in generations, he's quoting VIVEK. Unfortunately, now all he does is disguise his support in the form of deceitful campaign tricks. Very sly. But a vote for VIVEK is a vote for the other side. Don't get duped by this. Vote for Trump. Don't waste your vote. VIVEK is not MAGA. The Biden indictments against his political opponent will never be allowed in this country. They are already... Okay. And, so I guess some of you were right to be a little suspicious of the Hindu. Is it due to his Hinduism? Let's see if I could play this video. They're saying watch. Gateway Pundit, I would love to play this video. Save Trump, vote Vivek. Is this true, Gateway Pundit? Will I be able to find it on Google? They're making it difficult to watch, but I'll show you. See, here's the article here. I'd love to play this video here. It's apparently describing this very moment. Okay? And they have the transcript of the video, so at least they have that. They are scared of you. The voter says. The voter is apparently saying, okay, so Ramaswamy appears to leverage these concerns. Okay, so let me back it up. The controversy appears to stem from the viral clip wherein Ramaswamy is seen speaking to a voter who expresses fear over the future of Trump in the United States. Ramaswamy appears to leverage these concerns, positioning himself as the solution, claiming that a vote for him is in reality a vote to save Trump. They are scared of you. They are just scared of Trump. Just like they're scared of Trump, says the voter. Ramaswamy responds, they are. They will stop at nothing. But we're not going to let them get away with it. I've got fresh legs. I'm not wounded. I'm not going to let this man do it. Wow. As the conversation continues, Ramaswamy and the voter discuss the deep-seated fears for America's future. Ramaswamy positions himself as the youthful, vibrant alternative. We're losing it. We're losing it, she says. Ramaswamy, it pains me to hear that. It's 1776 moments. I want your support at that Iowa caucus. I'm emotional about this country. I need your support on Monday night. You do this, I'm going to do my part. Okay, you're picking at my shell. You are, but, says the voter. And Ramaswamy says, it's about this country. It's about this country. You want to save Trump, you vote for me. I'm telling you that. You vote Trump, you're sending him to his own demise. You're falling into the trap that not only a country's falling in, but he's falling. You want to save Trump, you vote for me. I need your support at the Iowa caucus. Wow. Take this in context, right? Yeah, you already know, I already mentioned the news here that they had this at the Iowa caucus here for the primary to pick the president, okay? So and Vivek is talking in this way to this voter. And maybe it's clear now why Trump is speaking this way. Because this is how I always saw it. I didn't see anybody debating on that stage in those primaries debates as an actual candidate. They were like proxies for ideas and stuff. And I saw Vivek as someone who was just pro-Trump. And I honestly thought, because I'm just going to take him for his words, right? And then, but still pay attention when things don't match up, as we should, right? You shouldn't just trust someone, but you shouldn't just not trust someone. And everything he said was on Trump's side, and so I honestly thought, well, obviously I honestly thought to myself, okay, well, now the most honest move for him, in my opinion, would be to do what he's doing for whatever reason he sees fit to bring attention to Trump, to bring his proxy at the debates, whatever. But the most and only honest move would be to drop out. Be like, all right, I did my part. It's time to give it up to Trump. This is what I'm really here for. Give him his chance here to finish the job, how they got treated in 2020 and of everything that happened. And so that's like the only honest move. That's how I see these other Haley, any other Republican here running as just upstarts, self-important, right? They think maybe they've been fed something like this. And if you pay attention in this exchange with the voter, Vivek sounds like they keep billing him as this person who's very unlike DeSantis and not like Haley. He's like Trump. But he sounds just like them here saying, well, I'm not wounded, okay? They're trying to take him down, like saying like Trump's not going to do it. He's wounded. He's got this. When they say he's wounded, they're referring to, he's got bad reputation and these legal challenges that are happening. It's just too much. We need a fresh thing. He sounds just like them. And Trump, that should be more reason to support him. What's going on with these legal troubles, they say, this fake stuff that's going on. He sounds just like them here. It's a kind of very revealing. VIVEK, the Indian viper, rooted out. That's why you pay attention. You give them a chance. But you pay attention. I mean that more with like when you're dealing with people in your general lives, right? You don't distrust, but you don't trust. You're just aware. Kind of when I was talking about the aloof dad, maybe some people didn't understand me. Was that Friday? But the aloof dad isn't concerned on the levels and the deepness of the conspiracy of the evil wife. But should he see something, he's paying attention. Anyways, Trump, Vivek Ramaswamy responds on X.com. He says, yes, I saw President Trump's Truth Social post. It's an unfortunate move by his campaign advisors. I don't think friendly fire is helpful, he writes. Have you heard that one before? He sounds just like the DeSantis campaign. He sounds just like Haley. He's saying, no, it's friendly fire. No, it's friendly fire that you're even running seriously and telling people to vote for you at the Iowa caucus like that. Like, the correct response to that woman who was worrying her pretty little head, as Hake says, the Hake report, about her politics. Oh, I don't know what's going to happen. You see how emotional women are? She's all for Trump, but you get a smooth talking guy saying, I'm young, I'm just like Trump, and I love him. And just like that, she's like, hypnotized. We didn't get to watch the video, to be fair. Gateway Pundit, get your stuff together. But the correct response would have been, hey, don't worry. Don't you see all the support he has? Don't you see that everything they're going after him at this level because he's a real threat? So we got to do our part. We got to endure all the way through. Don't let the lies get to you. I'm here for Trump too. This is me this is me doing an impression of Vivek if he was an honest person. I'm for Trump. You just go to the Iowa thing and do your part and vote for Trump, and we're gonna get it done. That would have been the correct response. Vivek Ramaswamy. So they say that he's using the same lines. Friendly fire. Donald Trump was the greatest president of the 21st century, and I'm not going to criticize him in response to this late attack, he writes. I've met tens of thousands. He goes on and on. It's like it's big. How much don't even remember? TLDR, bro. One movement must live on. America First didn't start in 2016. It started in 17. MAGA is Trump, my friend. Maybe something you don't understand. But the whole thing is, it is Trump. It's us and Trump. That's the whole thing. There's no MAGA without him. That's the whole movement. It's got to be, we got to see it to its end. We got to, and then learn and then let it be part of the DNA forward so that we may maintain the union for what? 50, 100 years? I'm not feeling so confident lately, folks. But it'd be nice to have Trump, right? And I don't know if Vivek's feeling the same way. It seems like he wants to be president. That's not how this works. We can't fall for that trap. Anyways. Everybody seeing what I'm seeing? 888-775-3773. Has the Indian viper been rooted out? He sounds like them. What else is he saying? The lawsuits against Trump are the ones trying to prop up Nikki. He's like defending Trump against the lawsuits, but he said, I've got fresh legs. I'm not wounded. You already know how I feel about it. Don't waste your vote. I wish I could find that video. It seems like it's a very interesting one. Vote for Save Trump. Vote Vivek. Don't clip that. Oh,
They are.
I think we got the beautiful bean footage. Shout out to TJ Sotomayor. I keep stealing your lines. Okay, Vivek Ramaswamy, I believe this is that very moment. Captured in a 240p for everyone. Let's watch.
Scared of you. Just
They
like
are.
They're scared of Trump.
Oh,
they are scared.
And they will
of
stop
Trump.
at nothing, but we're not going to let them get away with it. I've got fresh legs. I'm not wounded. And they're not going to let this
I got fresh legs. How dare you?
wounded. And
That's
they're not going to
true.
let this man do it.
You know, when you
This
said
is why I gotta
eliminate,
win.
that gave me a chill. Because I'm scared.
Because you think it's
She said, that gave me a chill. She's all chilled by his words. Emotional woman. Okay, I should just let it play.
I'm scared.
because you think it's false or because you think it's true.
I think it's true. I think they will stop at
It is-
nothing to stop them. Stop Trump.
It's sad, but it's the truth. It's the sad, but it's the truth. So I'm
But
asking you to do
that's-
your part, and we're going to.
You know, when I
We can do
these
this.
polls,
We
when
can
I
do
this
this.
poll,
Yeah.
They say, how do you feel about the United States? And I say, I'm worried and I'm fearful.
Worried and fearful women. Worrying their heads about politics.
My job,
Hug.
that you don't have to.
Give me a hug. Give me your vote. Give me a hug. Your vote. I mean a hug. Give me a vote. Give me a hug. Give me your money. Give me your vote. I mean, give me a little hug. This is so bad.
My job that you don't have to feel that way in this country.
But we're losing it.
We're losing it.
It's I hear soaking music. I need to turn on my mic. All I see is red. Am I just blasting all your ears? I'm running solo, but I should pay attention to these levels. And I have control of it, so I should have no excuse. Am I just blasting your ears? All I see is red. Red, red, red. Let me turn that down. Lord.
People like you. Young.
I hear soaking music. Someone's
That's where
soaking.
our founding fathers were.
Yes.
It's 1776 moment, so I want your support at that Iowa caucus.
I want your support at the Iowa caucus. There he is. He's saying it. Snake. She's saying, I get emotional.
I want your support at that Iowa caucus.
I get emotional.
I'm emotional about this country. I need your support on Monday night. You do this, I'm going to do my part.
Okay, you're picking at my shell. You are.
Yeah.
But, you know, I've got
It's about this country.
Why you whispering, Vivek? We can't hear you. Why you whispering, huh? Why so silent? Why you whispering that, huh? Louder for the ones in the back.
But, you know, I've got
It's about this country. It's about this country.
You see this? He's
You want
whispering.
to save Trump, you vote for me. I'm telling you that. You vote for Trump. You're sending
He's
him.
a sledgehammer.
No, but you're sending him to his own demise.
He's a sledgehammer. Is she using this like? Is she using this like? He's a sledge. He's not a. It's this criticism I hear. Like, oh, he's yeah, he's not a scalpel. He's a sledgehammer. Well, this is a snake. So, you know, worry about what's right in front of you.
You're falling into the trap that not only a country's falling in, that he's falling. You want to save Trump, you vote for me. I need your support at the Iowa caucus.
That's a good argument. That's a good argument.
How's that a good
It's
argument?
the truth. Do the right thing for him and for this country.
With the
That's
soaking music, trying to get her to accept Jesus at the front of the church.
Thank you.
That's the first time
For
I've
this
ever
country.
said that, by the way. Because the others,
No, forget that. But that's the truth, and I think you know it.
it's also about Trump.
But this is
about
yes,
America.
yes. This is the truth, and what I just told you, I think you know that in your heart to be true. Do the right thing on Monday. That's what I'm asking you for. Thank you.
Do the right thing.
Thank you.
Scared of you.
Okay, I think we could say we've rooted out the snake. Okay. Because, I mean, you would just drop out, right? Am I wrong here? Am I just too simple about this? Wouldn't you just drop out? Like, you do your thing, you get the media attention. Hey, we're Trump. Hey, we're the Trump train. Let's go. I'm young. Let me rap Tupac. Hey, youngins, look at me. Sunglasses off. Trump 2024. So cool. And then you drop out. Or am I stupid? Fair question. Yeah, great question. Sugar pancake face. Yeah. Do the right thing Shall we move on here? The Indians aren't liking the Canadians. Funny Reddit post here I want to show you. From my sweet Canada, whom is changing so much. Who's changing? Whom? Who? Be a man. Anyways. That might be that might even be true, Raymond. But I wonder if are you saying Vivek is a better choice though, Raymond? Because that might be a fair point. You know, his Second Amendment stance is better than Donald's. But we got to care a little bit more about more than just that, right? As important as the Second Amendment is, there's deeper things. We can't be shallow. You have to be only pro in a Second Amendment only if you're willing to sell out the whole MAGA thing that got started here, and get in and jump in with these people, these wrench throwers. These people want to throw a wrench into the whole thing and help them out. I don't care what you say about the Second Amendment. You hate the American the public's will and the Constitution. How about that? Okay, let's move on. What should we do? The Redditors are noticing about the Indians. Speaking of Indians, speaking of the Hindus, Vivek promised to appoint Krishan the Don to head of the ATF. Is that a joke, Carver? Is that a joke? Okay, increasing racism against Indians in Canada, a rising issue in Canada, which needs to be dealt with on r/India Speaks. The Redditors are having their conversations about this. It's becoming a problem, okay? People are getting mad. They're calling them dirty. I mean, they've been calling them that for a while, though. Even when I was a kid, you know, oh, Packy, oh. Hey, we were kids. We were othering the other, okay? They were very other. They were quite other to the people I remember. I have been living in Canada for the past 4 years, and if you don't know, it just seems like normal to me. But if you don't know, there's a lot of Indians. Maybe if you're confused at all, a little context. And I'm an anchor baby. I grew up in Canada. If you don't know, now you know. Increasing racism, it's got to get dealt with. I mentioned this too with this spat that Owen Benjamin has been having with Indians online, which is quite interesting. I know I wouldn't go around advising people to, as you know, we can all agree he was using his free speech, and that is great. I wouldn't go around using his language, maybe. That being said, it kind of revealed some disagreements on free speech on this Western world that these people have come to. Increasing racism against Indians in Canada. I've been living in Canada for the past 4 years, and I've noticed increasing racism and hate being shown towards Indians. Trudeau has completely destroyed the Canadian economy by his woke politics, and now every single issue is being blamed on Indians. If you don't believe me, look up the Canada Housing 2 group, and you would see almost every single post and its comments is racist towards Indians. I mean, I tried finding this. I don't know what that really is. Canada Housing 2. I guess it's a Reddit. Maybe we can peruse it a little bit. Yeah, I think I found it. They're racist towards Indians. For all the Indians in this group, let's show our power to these puny Canadians. As an example, there is a post today on that group about WION reporting on how Indians are avoiding Canada for studies, and almost every single comment on this post is hateful and racist. Man, okay. And so I guess this another Indian person are commenting. I was born here, this person says, and I've been feeling racism creep in now, and I never felt this way growing up. That sub just makes me sad. Honestly, if this trend continues, I don't think I'd want to stay in the country anymore. If I'm going to be equally hated in the U.S., at least I can make better money. And it's a little cut off for me here. And he says, have arms truly highlights the one thing I've always known growing up here. Canada is just as racist as any country. So, and this, it's hard to validate this on Reddit. I feel like people go on Reddit and start threads to just troll. But I feel like this is also quite believable. So it's just as likely that this is true. As there has been a market increase, shall we say a certain number percentage increase in racism. Who are the people calculating this? Incredible numbers. But shall we say some market increase in the criticism towards Indians? They've been getting just joshed on over their street food habits over there. And so I showed you how some people were quite angry at Owen Benjamin's usage of free speech, calling for him to be censored and banned, something I wouldn't say is quite free speech of them. That's not very freedom of you. And this whole thing here is just, it's just interesting to see this person who posted this, talk about Trudeau and woke economics, woke politics, and every single issue being blamed on Indians. It's okay. I bet you not every single issue is being blamed on Indians. I think you're being maybe a little sensitive, and it feels like that. And people maybe, to be fair, people may be angrier now. And I got to say, talking to people from Canada that I know, especially with everything that's happened, lockdowns and everything, some of you may not understand, but it got pretty nasty up there. A lot of businesses lost, and it was nasty here too, but they went like crazy communist, okay? Housing, I don't even know where to start with that in Canada. Housing, like, it's crazy. It's just crazy. And so to say they're blaming it on every Indian, okay, that's probably ridiculous. But it's funny how he mentions the Trudeau, the woke economy. A lot of people have turned on Trudeau and all that since the lockdowns and everything that's happened. But it's interesting to see how politics really doesn't matter. It does matter somewhat. And to have people wake up to something like Trudeau's woke politics is maybe a net positive. And I'm not going to poo-poo that. That being said, it seems like all people, you can teach them good things, but eventually their heart is where it is. And this person may be a patriot and, yeah, you know what, Trudeau's liberal, ruining Canada, but whoa, I'm still Indian, and you can't be racist towards me. Having not a single ounce of understanding that Canadians, their world is changing around them. Like to I think a much faster and crazier degree than Americans realize or are used to, considering they're like a 10% of the American population, and not a shred of understanding here that these woke politics he's talking about brought a lot of not economically positive people to Canada. So I don't know what to tell you there, buddy. I don't know what to tell you there, bud. Canada Housing 2. Trying to find this forum here. They're saying they're so racist. Canada Housing 2. What happened to Canada Housing 1? First post I'm seeing. The first post I'm seeing. Okay, so apparently this subreddit is about what? What are they about? And why'd they get so racist? Huh, Indians? Let me hear you out. r/Canada Housing. This is a subreddit to discuss the housing crisis in Canada. Oh, well, there you go. It's pretty bad. You're welcome to debate population growth, immigration rates. So the Indians are not liking this. The free speech which, by the way, is not sanctioned in Canada the way it is here. They're not liking the free speech on this subreddit. Canada stuck in a population trap, needs to reduce immigration. That means y'all, Indians, maybe. So it's a mess. But the real grand mess is no understanding and no. Imagine if the Indians had some understanding. Even if you were a guest up there in Canada, you would then suddenly understand the situation. If you saw the part you played in it, if you saw the part your family and the economy and how, whether good or bad, what part you played in it, you can then, in that very moment, kind of flip it around and have some appreciation for Canada, which would look like actually supporting free speech. You wouldn't be getting mad at white people. You wouldn't be calling them racist. You would have some understanding, and you would probably be able to affect some good. And being whatever you are up there, a guest, an anchor baby, whatever. But you have to kind of drop it and see what part you played in it, what part my family played in. You know what I mean? That's there's a grander thing, but we played a part in it, being an anchor baby, abusing immigration laws. You might be able to have an actual appreciation by understanding what part the woke politics and your being there affected everything that's going on. And I think a person who's honest and understands that, has a little bit of self-reflection there, wouldn't be calling white people or Canada racist and all that. It's very shallow and is not the real thing. You know what I mean? It's not very freedom of you. All that freedom you're enjoying. Anyways, folks. I'm sure you can see the parallels. It's just I grew up there too, you know? I was like 9, 10 years old. Going up there to Canada. From America. Anchor baby born in America, moved to Canada. And you know, the family, they got papers. They all got papers up there. And so, yeah. What are y'all saying in the chat? What are y'all saying? Nick is Mr. Leahy's grandson? What makes you say that? What an honor. Mr. Leahy. Wait, Stephen Wills, you're not Canadian, are you? I'm pretty sure you're not. You don't have to dox yourself, though, so don't put anything. Trailer Park Boys were Nick's dream neighbors. Oh, yeah. You're right on. You gotta love Trailer Park. You gotta love a little Trailer Park Boys. Come on. Jesus loved the drunks and the prostitutes. And that show just makes me feel like Jesus a little bit. I love the drunks and the prostitutes. It's a little degenerate, okay? Not what they do, but have love for them, right? He told them the truth too, right, Jesus? Maybe not. Maybe he didn't hang out with them and get drunk, right? Maybe not that. Two smokes. Trevor, two smokes. Trevor, smokes. Darts, as they're called. As some call them. Shall we move on? Because there's like an amazing thing I kind of mentioned last week. And it has to do with like basic knowledge, elections, voting. And I highlighted this amazing moment in this debate where these very smart individuals, Democrats, liberals, who command large audiences, and they educate their audiences about politics and voting and very important, pertinent subjects to the country. You would imagine that these experts can answer very basic things. They were laughing. Head back. Maybe not head back laughing, but they were laughing in derision of AJ, Alex Jones, during this very debate where he made a claim that the census, that the more illegals a state lets in, it tips the scales with in terms of population. And so when the census counts up the population of a state, they in turn have more power. But it doesn't go, it goes a little deeper than that even. As we saw probably last week sometime Wednesday, Thursday, on my show, Elon Musk pretty much proves, and along with others online, pretty much prove how not only does this, tip the scales in terms of voting, electorate maps and all that when dealing with the census and population size, it goes a little deeper when we find out that many states, some say all of them, there is no real legal stop for an illegal to vote in a federal presidential election. Because the law apparently just says they just simply have to check a box. And so this has been a huge discussion where something so basic, something so seemingly basic could be so missed by the experts, the talking heads, election integrity, So it's kind of been an interesting, especially when you have this many eyes on it. Elon Musk invariably lends himself to the mainstream, so you just get a lot of eyes on what's going on here. Something that I've heard pretty much the whole time I've been paying attention to politics. I'll see quotes from 6, 10 years ago, even farther. So definitely conservatives, every now and again, have been ringing this bell like, hey, illegals are coming in for this reason. And it doesn't seem like the conversation gets past that for most, for liberals, Democrats. That's conspiracy for a lot of people. That's wacko conspiracy, off the deep end Republican Rush Limbaugh land. What do you mean illegals are voting in elections, you conspiracy theorists, you whack right-wing nut job? That is, some of you find this incredulous, but this is wacko conspiracy land for some. For most, when it's quite logical. It's quite simple and logical. Census and census numbers and electoral college votes and all that stuff. Surely you cannot be this obtuse. I hope your ignorance is feigned and not sincere. In all 50 states in America, as a result of preposterous judicial rulings, illegal aliens and millions of other ineligible non-citizens can register to vote merely by checking a box on a federal form declaring that they are citizens. This attestation is not validated or verified in any way prior to voting, nor inspected or checked in any way subsequent to voting. It functions entirely on the honor system. We are expecting the same people who dishonored our sovereign border to honor the integrity of a piece of paper. In other words, we are to believe that millions of people who have collectively violated the law millions of times will not check a mere box on a form because that too is illegal. We are truly the first society in all history with a completely open border combined with no citizenship verification for voting. Can you defend such a system? Asks Stephen Miller, senior advisor to Trump. I remember him. Founder of America First Legal. I've never heard anything bad about him. I like him. He was an advisor to Trump. No, he was pretty based. No? Based Stephen Miller. And this is just in response to a long thread about this very topic where liberals are just incredulous. Absolutely incredulous at this conspiracy that Elon Musk is, what? Elon Musk. You got to shut down X now. Government better get in there and stop all the misinformation on X now. Not Elon Musk, the liberals say. So you see this thread? It's like a whole thread. They're like arguing this. I'm sure to many of us and people here in the chat can clearly see is just kind of a logical deduction of what's going on with immigration and voting. Elon properly run social networks do their best to take down misinformation, says this Jan LeCun. Short-haired woman, possibly? Oh, no, that's a dude, I think. And he's responding to this topic. Jan, the right to question elections is exactly the type of political speech the First Amendment was designed to protect. Yeah, what's controversial about that? That is just there's nothing controversial about that. They're calling it illegal. So is the right to call out attempts to corrupt the electoral process by disseminating misleading information, and just as a reference here, the misleading information in context is, well, this guy is claiming that Elon Musk spent this week spreading false and misleading information about voting. Musk used these claims to justify massive restrictions. He's saying, on January 10th, Musk posted that he recently learned illegals are not prevented from voting. And he goes on trying to disprove this. But this was, you can go into it yourself. It really is not misleading at all. But what was it? That's the information in question. Elon Musk here. What have I said that is incorrect? Unlike almost all countries, such as France, you do not need proof of citizenship to vote in the United States. And I showed that last week and all that. There have been many state challenges to this, but they have not yet made it past the appeals court. So, yeah, people, just liberals, just like, well, what are you, crazy? I'm telling you, it's wacko conspiracy to them. Something just basic, something basic and true that is happening today to voting, to immigration, and the states and all this. Kind of amazing to be that kind of far gone. You got to understand that it is a question of morality when this comes up. This has everything to do with morality, anger, and God. You have to be an immoral person to be all about teams. And look, Republicans do it too. Trump people do it. But it is a barbaric and uncivilized way of thinking and acting with your fellow man. To not be about, there may be, they used to say we agree on the same things, but we just think there are different ways to get there. But we essentially want the same things, more families, America to economically be great so that all boats may rise. But I'm just rambling at that point. Look, you following me here? It's an uncivilized way of acting to be about what seems to me, I don't know if you guys see it, the new morality of America and the world, which is really the old morality of the world, which is barbarianism or whatever you want to call it. And what I'm getting at is this. Caring about your team because your team's winning, then that's good. Because your side is ahead, then that is a good thing. So yeah, that's what I mean. You have to be about your team. You have to be about your team and immoral and angry and just taking this stance against this whole election thing. You have to be an immoral person to just not see something so basic. Okay, do you see the point I'm making a little bit? It's basic stuff that has happened, that is happening. You can look it up. It's not a conspiracy. It's in the open. There's been legal challenges to it. But, no, it's racism, Republicans, they're the race, all that. Teams, barbaric, tribal. Anyways. Uncivilized. That's what I got to say about that. I think that's what I got to say about that, huh? Just wanted to point that out. Thought it was an amazing thing happening amongst the intelligentsia, if we could so kindly put it. The intelligentsia of the internet. But I want to move on here. I think I want to move on. Wait, hold on. What are y'all saying? Soaking music? What do you got playing, C-Cell? Got some soaking music? Trying to brainwash? Worship music. I'm joking. Yeah, I'm looking a little bit like Mars Volta, huh? Rome 13. Might be time for a cut. Although I keep having a good curly hair day, and it keeps giving me fuel to go on. You got to understand, a good curly hair day, as unruly as it is, as difficult as it is to sometimes tame, maybe some people have the secrets. I just don't have them. When you have a good curly hair day, beats all the other ones. And it gives you fuel to continue. I'm taking calls, but no one's calling, Renee. 888-775-3773. I'm kind of on one today. I'm feeling like I'm speaking, clearly about these topics. So I'm fine, but you're welcome to call in about what you like. 888-775-3773. But it just fuels you. It fuels you to go on. So I don't know. Whatever. Watch. I'll hit you with a good curly hair day this week, and you won't be saying the same thing. All your criticisms will be gone. Nick is evolving into Pedro Gonzalez. I need a fat mustache. I already tried that. That was fun. But the mustache doesn't quite fuel me like the good curly hair days. Not quite. Big time, Renee. Good jams. Good jams. Maybe that. Maybe Jim Morrison here. But I got Robert out of Kansas. I do appreciate your call. You're on the air, sir.
Hey, Nick, appreciate you. You were talking about immigration and open borders, and there are multiple reasons. I mean, you can go anything from, it's to destroy white nations, right, with non-whites. But there's an economical reason why you would want to bring in a lot of people. And what it has to do with is the average individual over a lifetime, they create, or at least back when I was in college, they create about $14 million worth of transactions over their lifetime, right?
Wow.
And when you want to print money, if you're a bank and you want to print money, you have to have a real value creation, economic underpinning for each dollar you create. You have to have real value created. Otherwise, you go into Zimbabwe territory, right? And your money becomes worthless.
Following.
Now, one way you can do this is bring in a bunch of people who would then create these transactions, this real value creation that would hold down inflation because the dollar is actually worth the value that was created in exchange for it. So you bring in a lot of people. If you don't have a birth rate that's sufficient to print that money, you bring in a bunch of people who would create that same value that would underpin the printing of that money. One thing that happened recently, which I thought was fascinating, is I don't know who that libertarian guy is down there in Argentina, but in a snap of a finger, you have 45 million Argentinians that now need U.S. dollars to function in their economy. So all of a sudden, you have 45 brand new people who need that dollar, which pulls down the inflationary force because the value of it is real. There's a real value to the dollar. And so one reason for open borders is just to bring in more people that would create that value, and so that your monetary system, the U.S. dollar, the petrodollar, whatever you want to call it, remains intact. Otherwise, you would have a type of inflation that would eventually destroy the dollar, destroy your economy, and ruin things. So there's a real underpinning that has to happen if you're going to print all this money, and that's one reason for mass immigration like that into our country.
Yeah, thanks for that. I've had some kind of abstract understanding of this, of sort of, shall we call it, pyramid scheme, where you got to keep bringing in the people to keep going what you got going, especially if the ones here not making enough babies. So I've always kind of understood that abstractly. When you say the people coming in, their transactions create value, what does that mean?
So, like,
because I kind of understand the value of a person and whether immigrant or not, they're going to work. They might take on the loans needed to have a car and everything you need to function in America, and so they will add to we'll call it a scheme, whatever. So I understand kind of that value. You're saying their transactions create value. What do you mean by that?
Well, what I mean is that the creation of value is the economic underpinning to everything that money would be used for. If you hired me, Nick, I do a lot of landscaping. So if you hired me, you say, Robert, come over, make my property look beautiful, and you hand me money for that. And then I go down the street and I hand it to somebody else who built a new lawnmower. Now, this money is the same money. It's the same money you gave me, the same money I traded to the lawnmower guy. And so the money's just going in a circle. But now what do we have? Well, you have a nicely landscaped property. I have a new tractor, and all this money just went in a big circle and just lands in somebody else's pocket. But the point is that we've created this value along the way where you can walk outside and say, look at my property. Isn't this beautiful? And so that value creation is what is necessary. The money is just a mechanism. It's just it just spins around in a circle. Everybody thinks it's valuable. And the reason it is valuable, Nick, is because you're outside looking at your property going, wow, Robert really did create some value on my property. So it's just that energy, that mechanism by way which we trade for each other's value to each other. But really where it lies is that we do the work to create that value no matter what you do. You could be at McDonald's making hamburgers. You got to realize you're creating so much value every time you go into work. You're creating so much value that McDonald's became one of the most powerful, wealthy, restaurants there is.
Yeah.
And so it's that underlying economic value that is necessary to pull down inflation. In Zimbabwe, if you just print money and give it to everybody, but nobody works, nobody builds a house, nobody's doing anything, well, then you're stuck with a bunch of money and nothing's being done.
Gotcha. And so when you say we do the work that creates the value, that we can also include even like immigrants and people that are not exactly we. So
immigrants.
And that's why they're doing that. The incentive being that it keeps that going. What you're talking about, that makes sense to me.
If you bring Javier, Pedro, and Jose into the country, right? What do they need? They need housing. They need food. They need electricity and services. And they're going to work. They're going to produce value in order to obtain the things that they need to live. And an average person is worth about $14 million over their lifetime. So each person you bring in, you can basically print $14 million, and it will be underpinned by real value, by real action that produces something that is tangible, not just a piece of paper that can be worth whatever we have concluded in our confidence in our minds of what that means. And so that's one reason you bring in people, or you want to increase population, because those people need the services they need, and they will work hard, produce value to obtain them.
Gotcha. And that's the mentality of those probably pro-immigration and everything that's going on here. But we're seeing that kind of not work out so well with criminal elements of the people coming over and the overloading of the system, welfare and all that. So let me ask you this. What would happen then, because everything you've described it sounds like this system kind of requires all these people coming in to prop itself up. Is that what you're saying? Is that a kind of a clunky but fair summary?
Well, I would say there's one currency on earth that's the king currency. And we all know what that is. They use it overseas. I've been overseas to a lot of different places. There's nothing you can show somebody else in another country that doesn't get their attention more than a $20 U.S. bill, because they know that $20 against their dinar, against their Kugaran, well, it doesn't matter what it is. It's a U.S. dollar. I mean, this thing can buy something. It's not going to go up and down.
I just wanted to ask, what would happen if they're all gone tomorrow? If they were deported, if we stopped the immigration, then what would happen to everything you're talking about?
I don't know if I have an answer for you right now, Nick, as far as what would happen. The dollar would lose value, and like the Weimar Republic, Germany, right? They had barrels full of cash to buy one loaf of bread. Well, that's what would happen. You would have mass inflation, and you would have a horrific situation that could occur if you were to collapse the dollar into nothing, where they could just keep printing it, but it doesn't matter because it doesn't buy anything anymore.
So immigration is really propping up the population that significantly?
Well, it's not just immigration. It's the petrodollar in itself. If Saddam Hussein all of a sudden says, you know what, I'm going to start trading our oil for euros, right? I'm going to sell euros. I'm going to sell directly to Europe, and I'm not going to use dollar bills to do it. And we say, okay, Mr. Saddam, don't do that, because you have the third largest oil reserve in the world. And if you start doing that, then all of a sudden the petrodollar starts to weaken. And so what we say, hey, don't do it, don't do it. He does it. And what do? We go bop him on the head. We put the Iraqi oil back, that the intrinsic value, the economic value of the oil is now underpinning the dollar again, just like a human being in their transaction. Real tangible value is underpinning that dollar, meaning that it is actually worth something, because it's the oil out of Iraq must be traded in dollars.
I'm following. So yes, there's
Iraq wants to sell. Yeah,
I'm following you on that. There are actual commodities and people that underpin the dollar's value. And so if I'm following what you're saying, a lot of that value is being propped up with immigration. So my question is, in your estimation, what would happen should you just get rid of that one day? Let's say at a press of a button, I got rid of all that. What would happen to? And so it sounds like you kind of already expressed a little bit. There would be a significant drop in the dollar, looming, maybe even collapse. And at that point, we're talking about historic things that we don't know what could happen. We have examples, like you mentioned, the Weimar Republic and out of control inflation. So, in your estimation, after everything we've talked about, what is your solution then? Are you saying we need immigration? What are you saying, Robert? Because it sounds to me, with what you described, it sounds like so it sounds like immigration is a Band-Aid that is coming undone, and that's not really working. It sounds like we need a revolution with the women, and they got to start making the babies. How do you think we're going to get out of this, Robert? What after everything we talked about?
And we're speaking. This is speaking in terms of fiat currency, right? We're speaking in terms of, we used to use money back in the day. There was money that did have intrinsic value, meaning that you can't just go print gold bars. You can't print them. You have to go and get men, dig it out of the ground, refine it, and make it into gold, right? So gold was intrinsic value, meaning that you knew that one gold piece will buy you an entire, it used to be in business school, they would say you could trade one gold piece for a cow, right? It was always that trade, one cow for one gold piece. And we use silver too. There's these intrinsic values. When we got away from that and went into fiat currency, meaning that you can push a button and print as much money as you wanted, then you have to have something that underpins that. Otherwise, it goes just into the stratosphere. We just made all this money, and now everybody has all this money, and it costs you $5,000 to have your yard mowed, and then it doesn't hold down the currency to an actual value of something that's real.
Totally follow it. So changing the money system to something real, you say is a solution here.
If we went,
and you know what I gotta say, I think that's a step in the right direction, honestly, because, to add to what you're saying, it's a step in the right direction because once you make things about real things and not ego things, once you make the money about something real, the incentive is to be real as well. The incentive is not, well, we need to bring foreigners to keep this going. The incentive is now, well, we need our people to get better. We need our people to make businesses. We need our own people to make babies. We need the people here to kind of get it together, and the incentives will be there for them. I think it's a step in the right direction. I hope, does that kind of summary make sense and is in line with what you're saying?
Well, right now, the situation we're in, I would say, Nick, is that we would have to just run it all the way to the end where there is a collapse, and that maybe a new government comes back and says, we are going to use gold, or we are going to. I know that a lot of countries like Russia, like China, like India have really tried to maybe go to a gold system, but the threat of that to the hegemon right now, the threat of that would be so great that you see what's happening with Russia. You see that if Russia went to a gold-backed currency, all of a sudden everyone's going to want Russian money. Who cares about a dollar whenever you could go get something that's based on gold, like real gold? Then you don't have to have a transaction through migration and keep down a petrodollar and anything. It's actually worth something. And so there's a fight over that where they're like telling Putin, hey, you better stop doing what you're doing because you're starting to set an example that other countries might follow. And that's just the scariest thing in the world to the controllers that control everything now.
I'm following you on some. I'm following you, Robert. Yeah, I definitely see what you're saying about that. Making the money system real, it would have the correct intentions and incentives for the people there. Don't know about who's running everything, but go ahead. Last thing you want to say before we move the wheels here.
Real quick, Nick. There is a really good microcosm of what you can look at and study and see exactly what happens when someone tries to do the right thing. His name was Muammar Gaddafi in the country of Libya.
Oh, yeah.
He started doing things like going to a gold-based currency. He found out that there's water underneath Libya. What did he do? He built pipelines and just gave everybody free water. He started to say, we can produce electricity at such a cheap rate that we're just going to make electricity free for the people. And if you're a major corporation, your other things, you're going to have to maybe be taxed and pay for your electricity. So you're talking free water, free electricity, free housing, gold-backed currency. And the world government basically said, hey, guy, we can't have other countries seeing you do this. You understand? Libya is no big deal. But if Egypt catches on and, other countries start catching on, it sets an example that would destroy our current control mechanisms over this world. And so what did they do to Gaddafi? Well, they took care of him. He's gone, right? And that
right. I know a little bit about this. It's interesting enough for me to pull on that thread. Right on, Robert. Thank you for that.
Yes, sir,
I'll have to
Nick.
check it out myself. But
okay.
Appreciate that. Stuff to think about there. Appreciate that, Robert.
Y'all have a good day. Bye-bye.
You too. Yep. I talk about the part that Americans and white people have to play in all this and their lack of birth, right? They're not replacing themselves. And so, you see these crazy solutions here, bringing the immigration in to keep it all going. But I wonder how much of that is due to these wrong incentives where you almost get punished for trying to do well. there's so much regulation and stuff you gotta give up and taxes and give to the others. I wonder how much of that is in the way. And so it's like we almost can't even diagnose the tumor and really be accurate about it. So it'd be nice if the government just got out of the way. No more giving to others all in all these horrible ways. Didn't push racism and hate white people. Then maybe we could see where the sickness where it really lies amongst the people of America, because they don't want to replace, they don't want to make babies. Blacks and whites, if you believe these numbers, right? If we got all the government stuff out of the way, it'd be nice to see where the sickness really lies, huh? Sion with the super chat there. You know, probably people have been super chatting here, and in fact, I see some on Rumble, and I see some on buymeacoffee.com/anchorbaby, by the way. Pretty nice. I get your support, and I do appreciate it. I got one from Carver. In fact, I got a coffee. Says, "Hey, Nick, happy Martin Luther King Day. To celebrate, I would like to share an anecdote of excellence. Was reviewing a sales call video recording. Both the client and prospect were of the diversity persuasion. And a few minutes in, I heard the unmistakable chirp of the smoke detector. Dang. I do know this very same chirp, Carver. I, of course, immediately lost it, started laughing and rewound it just to be sure, and laugh again before resuming the review. The call was about 30 minutes long and just kept chirping, and I kept laughing. But I began to notice the intervals of the chirp were getting closer and closer together, and then later farther apart again. By the end of the call, of course, I was now paying closer attention to this than the actual content of the call. The truth dawned on me. It hit like a ton of bricks. They were both chirping. I guess you just had to be there. Also, here's the folder of 50-plus crappy AI T-shirt designs for you. Wow, that's awesome. Some of them were almost okay. That's awesome, Carver. This might be really helpful for me. I appreciate that. Some AI designs, Nick Stream AI designs. I'm going to check these out. Some of these are kind of funny. Might as well show you. Well, shouldn't be giving away the sauce, on my show, but look at that. Look at this. The American Anchor Baby, right on. That's pretty nice. Right on, AI. Nick Stream hot dog. We got a hot dog in the air. We got a hot dog in the cockpit. Okay, this is awesome. Thank you, Carver. I appreciate that. Funny stuff there, yeah. Smoke detectors. The ballad of the dual dancing smoke detectors. Amazing. Woman bought 3 coffees. Says thanks for handing out the G passes to the masses. I think I read this one on Friday. I got some super chats here though. Right on YouTube. You can support me there as well. With Sion coming in strong with the super chat there. Thank you. I appreciate that. And with a Rumble rant over there at rumble.com/American Anchor Baby, Lily Poo with a Rumble rant says, nothing would happen. We would barter and trade with our neighbors. If we got rid of the Fed, we would just use American money like before the Titanic sunk in 1913. MAGA always, more white babies. Right on, Lily Poo. Thank you for that. Appreciate that. Oh, yeah. Yep. The chirp thing was funny there, Carver. It reminds me of a video. Might as well, since last minute of the show, it's here in my list of stuff. Wasn't really going to get to it, but you mentioned this chirp. I wonder, do I have the clip? I was wondering, is this a chirp? Eric Adams, since we did mention immigration, I guess it's thematic. It fits. Now, is this a chirp? Is this a chirp now? If it is it maliciously added? Now, why would there be a chirp at what seems to be a very official proceeding here? Well, not proceeding, but a media appearance here. Eric Adams, New York mayor, here from America. Here from Eric.com. Why would there be a chirp? Here's what, if you don't know the context of this video, he's talking about housing illegal aliens, by the way. He says, go to faith-based locales, then move them to private residences. This was said 6 months ago. So it's not a conspiracy. These people are actually considering moving these illegals into private residences. They say it's up to you. You could volunteer. Anyways, is this a chirp?
It is my vision.
Oh, let me turn that up. We're in chirp analysis mode, and we're going to need some upping on that volume.
It is my vision to take the next step to this, to go to the faith-based locales, and then...
Very faint. I might need to turn that up. Very faint, and I think arguably not. Have we just been primed? Is this just my mind? Is it just that I'm primed by the racists on X.com? That I'm now hearing chirps where there are none? Is this racism programming? Is there a chirp? You tell me.
Take the next step to this, to go to the faith-based locales.
Are they playing basketball?
And then move to private residence.
You watch the rest of the clip, you don't hear it again. To be fair, though, we're 10 seconds in when we hear the chirp, and the rest of the clip is 30. Aren't they, in 30-second intervals? It's arguable that, we just don't get there long enough to hear the next chirp. And I play the rest of the clip, and I got to say I don't hear it. They playing basketball? People are saying that's a chirp. Chirp analysis mode on.
Is go to the faith.
It's so faint.
To take the next step to this, to go to the faith-based locales, and then move to...
The Enga over his left shoulder about to laugh. LOL. I don't know, folks. Chirpgate. Look, I'm going to leave that one up. I'm going to leave that one as an I don't know. How about that? And that's it from me. That's pretty much it from American Anchor Baby. That's the show. I hope you enjoyed it. We're going to get back to it tomorrow. We got more excellence and beyond for American Anchor Baby tomorrow. 12. Don't miss it. Hopefully 12. Look, we're going to be able to test some cool things tomorrow. With wait, do you know yet? Do the people know about what's happening? Should I even say? I'm going to leave even that as an I don't know for y'all. I'm sure you're confused. I've given you no info because I don't know if I can, if I'm allowed. You'll find out tomorrow, though. You'll also see me for American Anchor Baby. That's it from me, folks. See y'all tomorrow. Bye.